So, I'm here in Edinburgh and I came over to just show you around some of the Harry Potter sites that we have. Edinburgh is not really my closest city, it's about 40 minutes away, so I usually head over to Glasgow. But here obviously JK Rowling came to write her books, so there's some history to do with the series, so I thought I'd show you some of the sites. So if you're ever visiting Edinburgh, they're fairly easy to get around to yourself. At the moment I'm up on Carlton Hill, which has nothing whatsoever to do with the Harry Potter story, but it's just a nice place to end your day in Edinburgh. So anyway, let's get started with the first place. So I'm here in Edinburgh on Cockburn Street, which is one of the streets in Edinburgh that's thought to have been the inspiration behind JK Rowling's Diagon Alley in the Harry Potter series of books. And hopefully you can see why. It's got lots of little shops with these tall buildings leading up from it. It's cobbled streets, although there are lots of cars parked here at the moment. And most importantly, it has lots of little alleys that run off of it, such as Jackson's Close here, which also have shops running off them. So you can see why people think that this is one of the streets that gave the inspiration behind the design in the films and also the descriptions in the book. And here, pretty much at the top of it, at number 44, Cockburn Street, is the Curiosity Museum of Harry Potter with officially licensed Harry Potter products. So the next site on our tour is the City Chambers, which is just off of the Royal Mile. And what you're looking for is JK Rowling's handprints, which are located on the pavement. If you're coming in off of the Royal Mile, you want to stick to the left, and it's the first one you will come to as you come through the archways. It's the Royal Mile behind me there. And you will see, hopefully it's visible, JK Rowling's handprints, which were done here in 2008. She has quite small hands, although roughly the same size as mine. There's also a few other handprints from Chris Hoy, who's one of our Olympic cyclists, and Ian Rankin, who's a famous crime author. I believe there's a few other famous people or people of note. We've got some professors. I don't really know who these people are. And I think some other authors. So anyway, that's in the City Chambers, which is, as I said, just off of the Royal Mile. It's about halfway down, directly opposite a Cafe Nero. So at the next point on our tour, I'm here on Nicolson Street. And behind me, the green building you can see over there is the old Nicolson Cafe, which is where JK Rowling came with her daughter to write the very first Harry Potter book. It's now called The Spoon, as unfortunately Nicolson Cafe is closed. And if you look just to the left of the entrance, there's a plaque stating this as well, so it must be true because there's a plaque. So next on our tour is Greyfriars Kirk, which is a church in Scotland. So what we want to do is we want to come in, head along past the church, and in here there's several graves with familiar names if you're used to reading the books. There's one for McGonagall, and there's also one for Tom Riddell, or otherwise known as Voldemort, or He Who Must Not Be Named. So as you come in, there's a map that shows you where everything is. And what we're looking for, of course, is the one that most Harry Potter fans come to look for, which is the grave of Lord Voldemort. So you want to come in just past the church and then turn to the right. You then have a little wall. And it's quite a nice graveyard. It's also thought that this graveyard proved some of the inspiration towards the one you see at the end of the Goblet of Fire in the fourth Harry Potter book, third Harry Potter book. And you can see that possibly it's quite a nice graveyard. You can see there's lots of tombs, old-fashioned style gravestones, trees. So you can see where people think that inspiration came from. It's also very close to the two cafes, the Elephant House and the Spoon, which is where JK Rowling supposedly wrote some of the books. Well, not supposedly, she did write some of the books because it was cheaper to go buy a cup of tea there and sit than it was to heat her house, because it gets very cold in Scotland in winter. So what you want to do is come in past the church and you want to go through where it says Flood and Wall. which is an archway you can see here. Just on the other side of this is a gate that leads to a school, and it's thought that this possibly provided some of the inspiration towards the design of Hogwarts. But there's also another theory which regards Edinburgh Castle, which I'll show you when we get over to Princess Street. But for now, let's just go find Lord Voldemort's grave. So you want to come through the wall and turn to the right. So once you're through the wall, keep heading down the path. Just want to follow it along, you'll see lots of gravestones, and as we get near the end we should see one for Lord Voldemort. And there's quite a lot of people down here, so I'll stop filming until I actually get a clear shot of it. But as you come down, you'll see the grave is right along the end of the tree. Turn right and head along past a little bit of fence they've built. So coming in round these other gravestones they've built, because it's been such a popular place, a little pathway. And you can see here, to the memory of Thomas Riddell Esquire, and Thomas Esquire, his son. So it's thought that this is possibly inspiration towards the names of the character for Thomas Riddell. Whether it is or isn't, who knows, but it's an awful coincidence that this is so close to where she wrote the books. And as we said, there's some other gravestones in this yard which have the names of some of the famous Hogwarts teachers, such as McGonagall. But I'll let you find them. It's quite a nice graveyard to wander around, especially on a sunny day like today where there's no wind, and just see who else you can spot here. So hopefully from here you can see better how to get to it. So you used to be able to just walk along this wall, but it's now fenced off to stop all the people walking over the graves. So you now walk down the path that they made through the middle, and then they've built another slightly path down the bottom to help protect the graves that are surrounding it. So please, if you do come here, keep to the path and be respectful of the other graves that are around. So behind me here is a gate that leads to George Heriot's school, which as we said is thought to be some inspiration towards the design of Hogwarts, an old-fashioned Scottish school. And just to the left of the gate you can see another famous Hogwarts teacher, as I mentioned earlier. Well, the surname anyway, McGonagall, who was, unfortunately William McGonagall was a poet, but the surname McGonagall obviously is one of the main teachers in the story, so possibly did she get the name from here? Who knows. This is another part of Greyfriars Kirk, up where the church is. It's also a museum, but it's closed today. It's a even if you're not interested in Harry Potter, it's a very nice place to come wander around. It's quiet, it's in the centre of Edinburgh, but you don't hear any traffic. It's peaceful, you can come in, wander around, there's a few seats you can sit on. And there's also some guides inside who'll help you find various things, you can just ask them. And usually when the museum's open you can wander inside there. It's a good way to pass some time, especially on a nice sunny day like today. If it's raining, which it usually is in Scotland, maybe not such a nice way to pass the time, but it's nice to come and wander around, see all the old mausoleums, statues and graves that we have up here. So just outside and a little bit along to the left from Greyfriars Kirk is another cafe that she wrote her books in, the Elephant House, which is this red building that you can see behind me hopefully. So this has become a slight pilgrimage for Harry Potter fans. It's kind of self-proclaimed the birthplace of Harry Potter. I mean, she did write the second and third books here, as well as some other cafes that she's been to. So another street that's presumed to have some influence on the Diagon Alley in Harry Potter is this one, Victoria Street, which is just off round the corner from the Elephant House. I'll just turn around and show you why. Even if it's not got anything to do with Harry Potter, it's still an interesting street to come down, and there is a Harry the Wizard shop down here, so it's a kind of museum and shop. And further along, round the bottom, there is a joke shop, and it's thought that perhaps when she's came up with the Weasley's brothers shop, the way it's been designed, if you wander down you can see the joke shop here is bright red and stands out from the surrounding area. So here on Carlton Hill, nothing really whatsoever to do with Harry Potter. It's just a nice place to come in the centre of Edinburgh where you can see everything, you can see for miles. So behind me, hopefully you can see it, the building with the clock tower located there is the Balmoral Hotel, which is where JK Rowling came to write the final book. And once she'd finished it, she left a note on the wall that she signed saying, "Here's where I finished the book." give or take. I'll try and find a photo of that because the Balmoral is extremely expensive and I'm not paying a couple of £1000 to go take a photo of a wall. So I'll find a photo someone's already put online and stick that in here. But for anyone interested, Carlton Hill, very nice place to come. It's quiet, other than the ambulance you can hear in the background. It's usually, there's lots of monuments up here, it's a nice little walk. It's not that hard to get up to, and it's right at the end of Princess Street. And looking out, you can see down there is Princess Street, just next to the Balmoral. John Lewis is that building ahead of us there if you want to do shopping with a restaurant on top of it. You got a couple of houses and whatnot, and then you can see out towards the Forth and to Leith Docks, which are those cranes you can see there in the background. And you can also watch the aircraft landing because they fly over here on their way into Edinburgh Airport.